ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। मम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रीमद् भागवतम कैंटो 7 चैप्टर 2 वर्स 11। विष्णुर्द्विचक्रियामूलो यज्ञो धर्ममयः पुमान् देवर्षि पितृभूतानां धर्मस्य च परायणम्। The basic principle of Brahminical culture is to satisfy Lord Vishnu, the personification of sacrificial and ritualistic ceremonies. Yagna Purusha, Yagneshwara. Lord Vishnu is the personified reservoir of all religious principles, and he is the shelter of all the demigods, the great Pitas, and the people in general. He is the shelter of everybody. When the Brahmanas are killed, no one will exist to encourage the Kshatriyas to perform yagnas. And thus the demigods, not being appeased by yagna, will automatically die. So this was Hiranyakashipu's plan. That basic principle of Brahminical culture is to satisfy Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu is the shelter of everybody. Now when Brahmanas are killed, then Brahminical culture is destroyed. So then no one will exist to encourage Kshatriyas to perform yagna. So we can understand how important Brahmanas are to society. So there are no Brahmanas, then even if there are Kshatriyas, they won't perform yagnas, and thus demigods, not being appeased by yagna, will automatically die. Or Bhagavad Gita says, Yagna bhavati parjanyo, parjanyat anna sambhava. Whatever. So the rains have to come for which yagna has to be performed. For all of that, yeah, Brahmanas are required. So Brahminical culture is lost, and the whole society becomes animalistic. Society becomes animalistic. That's the reason why Srila Prabhupada wanted to create a class of Brahmanas, qualified Brahmanas. Since Vishnu is the central point of Brahminical culture, Hiranyakashipu's plan was to kill Vishnu, for if Vishnu were killed, naturally Brahminical culture would also be lost. With Brahminical culture lost, yagna would no longer be performed, and for want of yagna, the regular distribution of rainfall would cease. Yagna bhavati parjanya. Thus, there would be disturbances all over the world, and naturally, the demigods would be defeated. From this verse, we get a clear indication of how human society is disturbed when the Vedic Aryan civilization is killed and the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies performed by the Brahmanas are stopped. Kalo Shudra Sambhavaha. Because the population of the modern world consists mostly of Shudras, the Brahminical culture is now lost and is extremely difficult to re-establish in a proper way. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya has recommended the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, which will revive Brahminical culture. Now, this is very, very important. Which will revive Brahminical culture very easily. No, see, we have to understand that by this chanting of the holy name, we have to become so pure that we actually should come to real Brahminical position. Not just because somebody has a sacred thread or somebody got Brahmin initiated. Actually, no guru wants to initiate a person if his nature is not actually Brahminical. So we have to understand that we have to actually come to this stage. And then Brahminical culture will get revived very easily. But we can't be Brahmanas and live like Kshatriyas or Vaishyas or Shudras. Then how will Brahminical culture be revived? So then we'll also become like Brahmanas in name only, because we are not doing anything that a Brahmana needs to do. Those qualities of a Brahmana, then functionally, Patan, Patan, Yajan, Yajan, Jana, Pratigraha. So one has to do Patan. Study Shastra, teach Shastra, do yagna, make others do yagna, accept charity, give charity. That is Brahmana. Otherwise, there is no point in just, becoming so-called Brahmin initiated. It's of no use. That is the reason, of course, see, previously when Srila Prabhupada was there, devotees were all fully, and there is no other work. So immediately Prabhupada used to give Harinam initiation, Brahmin initiation, because they were just fully dedicated to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. But now when we have predominant grihasthas have to qualify themselves to become Brahmanas. But when it is done, then the Brahminical culture will revive very easily. Because of the increment in demoniac population, people have lost Brahminical culture, which is true. Nor is there a Kshatriya government. Instead, the government is a democracy in which any Shudra can be voted into taking up the governmental reins and capture the power to rule. Because of the poisonous effects of Kali Yuga, the Shastra says Dasyu Prayeshu Rajasu. Bhagavatam 12th canto. Government will adopt the policies of Dasyus. Dasyu means plunderer. Dasyu Dharma. Thus, there will be no instructions from the Brahmanas, and even if there are Brahminical instructions, there will be no Kshatriya rulers who can follow them. Aside from Satyuga, even formerly in the days when demons were flourishing, Hiranyakashipu planned to destroy the Brahminical culture and the Kshatriya government and thus create chaos all over the world. Although in Satyuga, this plan was very difficult to execute. In Kali Yuga, which is full of Shudras and demons, the Brahminical culture is lost and can be revived only by chanting of the Mahamantra. So, Prabhupada's prescription here is okay. So, even if there are Brahmanas, there are no Kshatriyas. So then we can't take this traditional route of Brahmana advising Kshatriya and then Kshatriya making changes in his administration so that Brahminical culture will flourish. So what we have to do, mass distribution of Harinam. Convert more and more people into Brahminical culture. Therefore, the Krishna consciousness movement or the Hare Krishna movement has been inaugurated to revive Brahminical culture very easily so that people may become happy and peaceful in this life and prepare for elevation in the next. Now, we have to bring people, make them devotees, and devotees have to come to this stage where they will become happy and peaceful in their life. That is the quality of a Brahmana. He's not hankering for things. He's not lamenting for his past. He's just happy with whatever Lord is giving. Just imagine how society will be if they're full of people like this. And what is the key to this? Chanting Mahamantra. And Brahmana is very, very self-aware person. Brahmana is a self-aware person. He knows about his own, gaps, uh, issues, etc. He can also recognize how to help others because he's not attached materially. Or neither is he so renounced that he's like just running away from everything. No. Brahmana means he's like duty bound. All these kind of qualities should be there. Still they'll be peaceful, happy and peaceful, whatever be the situation, life situation. That is a Brahmana. In this regard, Srila Madhvacharya quotes this verse from the Brahmanda Purana. Viprayignadi moolam tu harir ityasuram matam harireva hi sarvasya moolam samyam mato nripa. O king, the demons think that Hari, Lord Vishnu, exists because of the Brahmanas and Yagna, but factually Hari is the cause of everything, including the Brahmanas and Yagna. Therefore, though through the popularization of Hari Kirtana or the Sankirtana movement, the Brahminical culture and Kshatriya government will automatically come back. See, Prabhupada's prediction. Brahminical culture will come back, but he's saying also Kshatriya government will come back. And people will be extremely happy. So we should not doubt this because Srila Prabhupada is saying, so this will also happen. And so till that happens, when possibly in this, golden age, there's possibly this will happen. But for that, the trigger has to be Brahminical culture. And for that, the path is Sankirtana. So wherever we are preaching, we should do mass Sankirtana, mass distribution of prasadam, go place to place, do Kirtana on the road, streets, whoever comes, give prasadam. This is the only way we can bring. We can't. Not everybody will come and sit for hearing pravachan lecture. Mm. But everybody will be willing to take up this life because it is going to give them happiness. Yesterday, um, yeah, some devotees are book distribution. We're getting feedback, that people are able to read at least the small Kannada books that were published. People are able to read and they're getting interested in Krishna consciousness. Our devotees have been going to the same temples again and again. So many people come saying that, I've read this. This is amazing. Some persons also came and said, like after reading this, I felt like, uh, what is that? Mm, hair stood on end. Somebody came and said. So which means that we can, if we put the right effort, then we can spread this movement. And common people, like auto driver, like anybody who comes and he porter person, etc. We're transporting books here, there, and all that. And we give one book, one small book. Please read, free. So somehow we have to make sure that we can spread this movement. People have to understand what it is. If we can explain to them in a way that they can understand in an easy way, possibly more people will take. And we should target common man on the road. Then Brahminical culture will get revived automatically. If every person starts behaving in a Brahminical way, in a way which is not common to society, as in Krishna conscious way, then whole society will be revived. So this is very, very important task for all of us. यत्र यत्र द्विजा गावो वेदा वर्णाश्रमक्रियाः तं तं जनपदं याता सन्दीपयत वृष्टता. Immediately go wherever there is good protection for the cows and brahmanas and wherever the Vedas are studied in terms of the varnashrama principles. Set fire to those places and cut from the roots the trees there which are the source of life. The picture of a proper human civilization is indirectly described here. In a perfect human civilization, there must be a class of men fully trained as perfect brahmanas. Again, perfect brahmanas. Similarly, there must be kshatriyas to rule the country very nicely according to the injunctions of the Shastras. There must be Vaishyas who can protect the cows, not to do business and build their own fortune. It is to protect cows. Everything else is the extension. Krishi they have to do, Goraksha they have to do. Then Vanijya. When there is Krishi and Goraksha, automatically there will be products to be exchanged. So economical progress will happen when there is Vanijya. Brahmanas cannot do that Vanijya. So Vaishyas are required. But where will they produce things? This is what Prabhupada was against. Factories. He said go to the farm, like go to the land, so Krishi and then Goraksha, and then there'll be products. Then you create a platform market for exchanging these products. That's all. That is the role of a Vaishya. The word Gavaha indicates that cows should be given protection. Because the Vedic civilization is lost, cows are not protected, but instead indiscriminately killed in slaughterhouses. Such are the acts of demons. Therefore, this is a demoniac civilization. The Varnashrama Dharma mentioned here is essential for human civilization. Unless there's a Brahmana to guide a Kshatriya to rule perfectly and a perfect Vaishya to produce food and protect the cows, how will people live peacefully? It is impossible. Another point is that trees also should be given protection. During its lifetime, a tree should not be cut for industrial enterprises. In Kali Yuga, trees are indiscriminately and unnecessarily cut for industry, in particular for paper mills that manufacture a profuse quantity of paper for publication of demoniac propaganda, nonsensical literature, huge quantities of newspapers, and many other paper products. This is a sign of a demoniac civilization. The cutting of trees is prohibited unless necessary for the service of Lord Vishnu. Yagnartat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. Work done as a sacrifice for Lord Vishnu must be performed. Otherwise, work binds one to this material world. Meaning, whatever work we do should be in connection with devotional service. Should do something in connection with devotional service. But most of the occupations are unconnected to Krishna, unconnected to Brahminical culture, unconnected to pleasing Krishna, unconnected to devotional service. So, okay, then the results at least have to be used. Otherwise, it's a demoniac society. It's a self-centered, sense-gratificatory society, which is going to suffer. But if the paper mills stop producing paper, one may argue, how can our ISKCON literature be published? The answer is that the paper mill should manufacture paper only for the publication of ISKCON literature, because ISKCON literature is published for the service of Lord Vishnu. This literature clarifies our relationship with Lord Vishnu, and therefore the publication of ISKCON literature is the performance of yagna. Yagnatat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. Yagna must be performed as indicated by superior authorities. Cutting of trees simply to manufacture paper for the publication of unwanted literature is the greatest sinful act. And we are all part of this society, and we are encouraging these things. Nonsense literature. People still buy newspapers even after coming into Krishna consciousness. Then unnecessary books are purchased, etc., etc., etc. So important thing for us is that work should be done as for the pleasure of Vishnu. It should be connected to devotional service. That is the type of work we should do. Till we are able to do that, okay, devotion there's no barrier, right? Sthane sthita stutikata tanvan manopi. So whatever situation we are in, we should do devotion. That's fine. But we go to a higher level of devotion if work that we are doing can be done as a devotional service for Vishnu, which will be very nice for devotees' progress. Okay. इति ते भर्तृनिर्देशम् आदाय शिरसाधृताः तथा प्रजानां कदनं विदधुः kadanapriyaः. Thus the demons being fond of disastrous activities. Kadanapriya. Who are kadanapriya? Those who are expert in kadana, persecuting others or fighting, basically. Being fond of disastrous activities, took Hiranyakashipu's instructions on their heads with great respect and offered him obeisances. According to his directions, they engaged in envious activities, disregard, directed against all living beings. The followers of demoniac principles, as described here, are thoroughly envious of the general populace. In the present day, scientific advancement exemplifies such envy. The discovery of nuclear energy has been disastrous to people in general because demons all over the world are manufacturing nuclear weapons. The word Kadanapriyaha is very significant in this regard. The demoniac persons who want to kill the Vedic culture are extremely envious of the feeble citizens, and they act in such a way that ultimately their discoveries will be inauspicious for everyone. Jagata ahitaha. So this Jagata ahita. We should do things that are Jagata hita. But the demoniac, the current society does things which are Jagata ahita. The 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita fully explains how the demons engage in sinful activities for the description of the destruction of the populace. Puragrama Vrajodhyana Kshetraramaashramakaran Ketakarvatakoshamscha Dadahu Pattanani cha. Demons set fire to the cities, villages, pasturing grounds, cow pens, gardens, agricultural fields, and natural forests. They burned the hermitages of the saintly persons, the important mines that produce valuable metals, the residential quarters of the agriculturalists, the mountain villages, and the villages of the cow protectors, the cowherd men. They also burned the government capitals. The word Udyana refers to places where trees are especially grown to produce fruits and flowers, which are most important for human civilization. Krishna says, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. Fruits and flowers are very much pleasing to the Lord. If one wants to please the Supreme Lord, he can simply offer fruits and flowers. And Krishna loves flowers. Vrindavan is full of flowers. The Lord will be pleased to accept them. Our only duty is to please the Supreme Godhead. Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. Whatever we do and whatever our occupation, our main purpose should be to please the Supreme Lord. This is Karma Yoga. Yat karoshi, yad ashnasi, yad duhosi, dadasi, yat. Yat tapasyasi, kaunteya tat kurushvam adarpanam. All the paraphernalia mentioned in this verse is especially meant for the satisfaction of the Lord, not the satisfaction of one's senses. Government, indeed the entire society, should be structured in such a way that everyone can be trained to satisfy the Supreme Person of Godhead. But unfortunately, especially in this stage, Nate vidu swartha gatim Vishnu. People do not know that the highest goal of human life is to please Lord Vishnu. On the contrary, like demons, they simply plan to kill Vishnu and be happy by sense gratification. So, just being happy by sense gratification and keeping Vishnu away somewhat is like killing Vishnu. That's what Prabhupada is saying. Like demons. They're not demons, but they're living like demons. Till they become, as long as they are, if they're not completely become demons, then we have a chance to revive them, to pull them out. So that is a job of preachers, book distributors. Go out, pull people out of their slumber, so that they don't become demons. They don't know, and they're living demon-like life. केचित् खनित्रैर्बिभिधुः सेतुप्राकारगोपुरान् आजीव्यांश्चिच्चिदुर्वृक्षान् केचित् परशुपाणयः प्रादहन् शरणान् येके प्रजानां ज्वलितोल्मुखैः. Some of the demons took digging instruments and broke down bridges, protective walls, and gates, gopuras of the cities. Some took axes and began cutting the important trees that produced mango, jackfruit, and other sources of food. Some of the demons took firebrands, crackers, and set fire to the residential quarters of the citizens. The cutting of trees is generally prohibited. In particular, trees that produce nice fruit for the maintenance of human society should not be cut. In different countries, there are different types of fruit trees. In India, the mango and jackfruit trees are prominent, and in other places, there are mango, jackfruit, coconut, berry trees. Any tree that produces nice fruit for the maintenance of people should not be cut at all. This is a Shastric injunction. So, what can be cut is non-useful trees that don't produce fruits or flowers. Those can be cut, but that also not unrestrictedly. Even if they are cut, they should be cut for the for use in Krishna consciousness, for publishing Krishna conscious literature. एवं विप्रकृते लोके दैत्येन्द्रानु आनुचरैर्मुहुः दिवं देवा परित्यज्य भुविच्चेरुरलक्षिताः. Thus disturbed again and again by the unnatural occurrences caused by the followers of Hiranyakashipu, all the people had to cease the activities of Vedic culture. Not receiving the results of yagna, the demigods also became disturbed. They left their residential quarters in the heavenly planets and, unobserved by demons, began wandering on the planet Earth to see the disasters. Stated in Bhagavad Gita, the performance yagna brings reciprocal good fortune for both the human beings and the demigods. When the performances of yagna were stopped by the disturbances of the demons, the demigods were naturally bereft of the results of yagna and hampered in executing their respective duties. Now, see, important thing to note that demons had to do so much, had to create so many disturbances to kill Vedic culture. Today, in our state, it might not be so many disturbances, but Vedic culture is already killed. So, if there is a little opportunity, we should try to re-establish Vedic culture. And bring people to Sankirtana Yagna. Therefore, they came down to the planet Earth to see how people had become disturbed and to consider what to do. Hiranyakashipur samparetasya dukkitah krutva katodakadini bhratarputrana santvayat. After performing the ritualistic observances for the death of his brother, Hiranyakashipu, being extremely unhappy, tried to pacify his nephews. शकुनिं शम्बरं दृष्टिं भूतसन्तापनं विक्रमृकं कालनाभं महानाभं हरिश्मश्रुम् अतोत्कचं तन्मातरं वृषाभानुं तिथिं च जननीं गिरा श्लक्ष्णया देशकालग्न इदं महाजनेश्वर. Hiranyakashipu was extremely angry, but since he was a great politician, he knew how to act according to the time and situation. With sweet words, he began pacifying his nephews, whose names were Shakuni, Shambara, Drushti, Bhuta Santapana, Vrika, Kalanabha, Mahanabha, Harishmarshru, and Utkacha. So they were all his nephews, brothers, children. He also consoled their mother, his sister-in-law Rushabhanu, as well as his own mother Diti. He spoke to them as follows. Okay, now Hiranyakashipu is going to speak perfect knowledge. He's going to talk about Atma Jnana now. Okay. Yeah, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Actually, I just
Krishna.
wanted to raise one point here. So, all the descriptions of atrocities caused by demons is mentioned here, right?
Mm.
So, I remembered one lecture by His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaj, who was asked that, why Krishna allowed Muslims to kill all the devotees and all these atrocities. So he mentioned that this is because those who are calling themselves so-called Hindus, they did not follow the Shastra properly, and in order to teach them a lesson, God sometimes leaves these demons to outpass, basically do whatever they need, and these devotees suffer. So we can understand that, as you mentioned, that this is the responsibility of uh, devotees who call themselves as basically Hindus or even other classes to preach, because unless these practices are not properly preached, the population of such demons will increase, and it will eventually surpass all the good Vedic rituals and culture. And to some extent, those people who are not preaching this are also responsible. So he mentioned this clearly, and I think we also summarized here. So all these things which are happening in Bangladesh, and this is exact description, right? Like they are setting fire to the temples and these things. So we can relate this, that this is also due to the inactivity of the people who are calling themselves as basically devotee class, but not indulged in harinam distribution, book distribution. So I think some effort is missing from this class. So that is also some self reflection. Just wanted to add that.
Yeah, I mean, see, we are doing devotion, but we are still in a self-centered mode. Right? We are all still worried about our own lives and our own families, etc. Now, which is okay to some extent, but which is why, we have to do paropakara, we have to do social work, right? We have to work for the benefit of people. If we are going to keep working for our benefit only, when will we look at the society? When will we want to help others? So that requires us to go deeper into Prabhupada's purport. See, because when we read Prabhupada's purports, that first thing, I mean, there are multiple challenges here, right? First level is practicing devotees themselves. If they are fired up, like devotees were in manifest presence of Srila Prabhupada, when pretty much every person who came was a full-time devotee, right? They were not really, they were not concerned how their family is going to run, or they didn't even bother to think about all those things. Two devotees came, some Prabhupada just said, okay, both of you get married. Okay, devotees got married, and then their life same continues. Nothing, no change, right? But we're all playing very safe, right? We're all defense mode. Where are we going to get time to do this? Hmm. So if we are not so surrendered, at least the least we should do is follow Varnashrama and get out at Grasta, finish off Grasta. If we don't do that also, then how are we going to serve Prabhupada's mission? How are we going to serve the society? How are we going to change things? And then we can only keep speaking. We can just speak about things, but not do anything.
Yeah.
Right? So we have to understand this. Change will start here. See, if 10 devotees, that's why Prabhupada said, my mission will be successful even if I make one pure devotee. Why? Because that pure devotee will create another revolution. What Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's preaching movement was, he went to every village, made 1% devotee, and then gone. Next, he goes. then that devotee is empowered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he makes his whole village devotees. I mean, same thing we can understand. We are all in different parts of the city, and we have got the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, when will Chaitanya Mahaprabhu empower us? When we have the desire, when we go out, when we try for him, try to please him, then he will empower us. Then our apartment complex, our area, our society, our, can become Krishna conscious. But for which we have to go out. We have to distribute books, we have to give harinam, we have to, give them prasadam, we have to do all that. Otherwise, these things will continue. Demoniac forces, I mean, and whether it is, this name or that name or whatever we want to call, that is different, right? But there are demoniac forces everywhere. There's some which are gross, some which are subtle.
Yeah.
Now we know so many people who have everything that they want, who are so-called Hindus or whatever, right? But they engage in sense gratification, which is destroying the society, right? Because now they consume so much that they are also things are being produced by factories. So indirectly they are killing. They're killing Vedic culture. Some are
Yeah.
directly killing, some are indirectly killing. And if we don't take heed, we can just close our eyes, ears, everything, and just say, okay, I'm inside my house, I'll do my sadhana. Okay. But that's not our parampara. Our parampara acharyas are fighters. They fought against the demoniac civilization. Mm. So we should also get that fire. The fire is required. Unfortunately, somehow, this whole book month also book distribution. I know that few devotees are only fired up. Few are going, and somewhat it is somewhat being seen as also okay. Like disciples of some Maharajas do, other Maharajas disciples don't have to do. Why? It was Prabhupada's most favorite activity, right? And even amongst disciples of Maharaj who encourage book distribution, not everybody is coming out. Everybody is in their own comfort zone. Just we will speak. That's all. And that's why I bow down to all those devotees who are hearing, these words and getting excited, inspired, and going out, not worrying about their family, their children. I mean, I know of so many now families right here who uh, child is unwell, they're taking the child also somehow, make them sleep in the car. I mean, these are all amazing austerities. It's not that we should neglect children, but somehow managing everything. Why? Because book distribution. I mean, this is all laudable. I mean, we should just, at least for me personally, they might feel that I am inspiring them, but I am inspired by their commitment, by their surrender. It only motivates me to, can we create more such, uh, powerful, surrendered devotees coming out to do book distribution. The world, society can change. And simple devotees, right? No big philosophy, big that, big this, speaking. No, nothing. Just going, okay, we'll go do it. That's all. So we have to do it. We have to do. Prabhupada has given us the means. He's given us the way. We have to go and do it. We just either lazy or in the name of material responsibilities are just doing things which are really of not much consequence. I mean, most people have Saturday, Sundays off. What do we do? 2 days, 2 useful days. Can go out to distribute books 4 times. Even if you want to take rest, to spend time with family, etc. Okay, Saturday after Saturday, first half, leave it. Saturday evening, Sunday morning, Sunday evening. 3 sessions at least are available for every devotee who is so busy during the week. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Still, devotees are not inspired to go out. If you don't go out, nothing is going to change. Right? We have to understand that. Nothing is going to change.
Yeah. And also, Prabhuji, this point, right? That dharmo rakshitah rakshati, right? Like those who protect the dharma, dharma protects them. So all these responsibilities, if we
But
do. Yeah.
But why we want? I mean, it's pleasing Prabhupada. It's pleasing, our acharyas. It's pleasing Krishna. Why dharma raksha? I mean, that is all. If we are afraid, if we are worried, saying that if I go out, what will happen? Then okay, we can go into all this. But it just pleases our acharyas. It pleases Krishna. What more do we want?
Yeah.
Automatically, there's built-in protection. We don't even have to think about it. We don't even have to think about it. It's a given, right? So just we have to just take these things seriously, right? We have to become serious about these things and then go out. And of course, see, again, I'm telling, I know some devotees are overly transcendental. Don't be overly transcendental to the extent that you spoil your family life, you push people away from you. Don't do all that because that's not setting an example at all. In Varnashrama, there is no question of not doing our responsibility. I'm talking about managing everything nicely. That's what is required. Those are the standards we have to set. Anyway, I can go on and on and on because this distributing mercy business is important, right? It's very, very important, right? So somehow everybody has to think about this. Please don't sit at home. If you have time, do something. Mm. Okay, so we'll stop here because anyway, now from next verse, Hiranyakashipu is going to speak. So we are going to be see here a demon speaking perfect philosophy. So this also shows saying that just speaking philosophy is of no use. We have to follow. We have to apply those teachings in our life. Hiranyakashipu, you see, actually it's so funny. He says so many things that we are Atma, body is temporary, but still he's saying, okay, body is temporary, but I want to make that temporary body permanent. This is craziness. Hmm. So it should not become like that. Right? So we hear, we execute. We hear, we implement, apply it. Okay, so I'll stop here. If there are any other comments, questions, comments, feel free. Anything else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Uh, Prabhu, I was looking at that statement, right? Bereft of, the demigods bereft of the results of yajna.
Will die.
Yeah. So
Mm.
I'm just trying to understand that, Prabhu. So if you perform yajna,
Yeah.
I thought because of yajna that we perform, that they give certain results. So, but reading that statement looks like they themselves
No, no, no.
receive some results, but from
Yeah.
who? Is it from Krishna or Vishnu that they
No.
receive the
See
results of yajna?
the yagna is when you in the yagna you do swaha swaha.
Yes.
That swaha means that we are offering some things to those demigods. That
Mm-hmm.
is how they get their food actually.
Oh,
See,
okay.
their system is very simple. We give
Mm.
something to them, they'll give back in return.
Okay.
If you don't give them at all, then that's why Prabhupada is saying they'll die. I mean, they'll die meaning they can't do their work. They'll become weak.
Okay.
And
Mm-hmm.
then
Mm.
demonic forces will overtake. Mm.
Okay. So like we're dependent on each other, is it, Prabhu? Even though
Yeah,
we are
yeah,
in the
yeah.
lower planetary systems,
Yes.
like the whole. Okay. Jiva
I mean,
Jivasya Jivanam applies across planetary systems also.
no, 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 no. That jiva se jivanam is one jiva is food for another jiva, right? That is different.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
see, demigods, their role is what? They are administrators. What will they administer if, suppose in a government, there are
Mm.
some, people who are trying to do something and citizens are not, they don't want anything.
Mm.
Like, what is the use of that? What will they do? So their role is that when yagna is performed, then there is a reciprocation happening. So there is yagna, then
Mhm.
demigods are pleased. They get whatever they have to get for them to release whatever they have to release. It's a framework. It's a
Okay.
system. It's a system.
Okay.
Demigods
So
cannot give anything to human beings without human beings doing yagna.
okay, but they receive the results from who, Prabhu? From
Yagneshwara.
which Agneshwara?
Everything is
Agna
given by Vishnu only.
Vishnu. Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay.
Everything depends on
Mm.
Vishnu, right? But Vishnu
Yeah.
himself has set up these systems, right? As part of
Mm-hmm.
Varnashrama, saying that human beings should do this yagna. When that
Mm-hmm.
yagna is offered to this demigod, then this demigod is pleased, then he can reciprocate. This is how the cycle. That is what Krishna explains that, no, in the third chapter.
Okay, and then also, I mean, it is written that, yeah, I mean, the demigods have started wandering on the planetary system, earthly,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Mm.
So just to see all the destruction that was going
Yeah. It's not
on.
that they can't see from there where they are.
Hmm.
First thing
Yeah.
is they had to come out of their this one, because now they're prone to be attacked. Right. So first is they
Hmm.
escaped that, they had to come out of their heavenly abodes, right? Because they know
Hmm.
now that Hiranyakashipu's people will attack them. Second is,
Hmm.
it's just showing how much pained they are, that they wanted to come and experience, saying that, oh, people are suffering so
Hmm.
much, that kind of possibly more empathy kind of view. Not that they
Okay.
couldn't see from where they were.
Okay. So my next question is, Prabhu, is this the yagna? Is it only performed on lower planetary systems?
No, even in higher planetary systems like above Swarga Loka also it's performed. Even in
Hmm.
Swarga it is performed, but that is performed directly for the pleasure of Vishnu, not to
Hmm.
please demigods.
Okay.
Yeah. That okay?
Okay, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Anything else, anybody? Good. Vinod Prabhu comes up with some different kind of thinking. Okay, anything else, anybody? Okay, thank you all for joining. It shows here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Mancha kalpatarukishta kripa sindhubhyo cha patitana pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti vaishnavindra ki jai. Samvaita gaura bhakta ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you.